Passenger plane Embraer 190 was on its way to Grozny in Russia when it met with a fatal accident in the oil-rich city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. As many as 42 people have lost their lives, including both the pilots and one cabin crew member. Authorities have revealed that 29 people, however, have survived the deadly crash. They are now undergoing treatment in Aktau hospitals and are receiving extensive care from the team as well as residents who have been voluntarily showing up to donate blood. However, the situation is grief-stricken. There are many bodies that have been charred beyond recognition. Many family members of the passengers still do not know whether their loved ones are alive or have passed away. Although the initial report of a bird strike as the reason for the crash was put out, Ukraine is blaming the Russian Defense Forces for the crash. Before we go on to further news that has come in, let me bring in our guests into the conversation as well. I have with me on the broadcast Group Captain Dr. M.J. Augustine and Major Sudhakarji as well. Let me begin with Group Captain M.J. Augustine. Ms. Augustine, I want to understand from you, from your perspective, some of these theories that are now being put out, that the crash was the result of a Russian missile attack on this passenger aircraft. What is the basis on which this can perhaps be confirmed?
There is no basis, absolutely, because anything that happens between two warring nations, there is always, in the fog of war, as well as in an attempt to put the other country down. This is a normal thing that many people, warring nations do. There is, looking at the shrapnel, holes that I looked at, in fact, I tweeted about it also. Some of the holes are curling outwards. If anything that has hit from inside, the hole should be curling inwards. So there is a lot of doubt on as to post-crash. I'm a trained accident investigator, and I'm also I fly big jets. So with that as a background, I say this with all humility and with all information that is available at hand. Also, if you notice, the Flight Radar 24 had put out a tweet saying they were under immense GPS jamming and spoofing condition. So I had a look at the flight path of this particular aeroplane till the time the flight path was available in the open domain. There is a huge amount of lateral and vertical deviation of this particular flight, and that does not happen when you travel from A to B in an airline. You follow something like a highway. I mean, you don't even deviate a kilometer left or right or 30 feet up or down. So that is a kind of stringency with which you follow something. We call it the PDR, a predetermined route. Whereas this aeroplane was all over the place and clearly indicative of the fact that it was under some kind of a GPS jamming or spoofing, which is happening in most of this part of the world as well as in the Middle East now. Well, recently, in the Middle East, I too face some problems like this. So, did this lead to low fuel condition at Grozny? Because from Grozny, he had to divert to this place where the accident happened. But that is when things started going awry. Also, looking at the flight path itself, if you carefully look at it, the aeroplane goes up and then down, is clearly indicative of the fact that the pilot somehow had lost the pitch control. So he was now trying to maneuver the aeroplane with something called the trimmable horizontal stabilizer. The entire tail moves with the wheel. Flying with the trimmable horizontal stabilizer with the wheel is very, very difficult. In fact, it is next to impossible. It is given as an option that you can exercise till you
Yes.
sort of understand the problem and solve it. It was very, very unfortunate that this thing happened. Whether it was due to a missile attack or a bird hit or internal implosion or explosion is too early to say. Though
Right.
I'm very confident of my analysis till date. But in this particular case, I'm not sticking my neck out to say this is missile hit. Over to you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.